Aries, welcome to your monthly horoscope for February 2024. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this horoscope, I will be walking you through each week of the month, giving you a really good understanding of the major themes, topics, and energy you will be navigating for February. So let's get right into it. So, I first just want to start by mentioning that once we get to February, we have all planets direct. So, it is go time. It is time to start moving forward and implementing whatever it is you want for 2024. Now, we also have Pluto back in Aquarius, and we had Pluto in Aquarius in 2023 between March and June. So we got a little taste of what the Pluto in Aquarius energy is going to bring. Mind you, in 2024, Pluto is going to spend most of its time in Aquarius. So this year, we're really going to get a feel for what this Pluto in Aquarius energy is going to bring us collectively and individually. Now, you have Aquarius in your 11th house of friends and friendships and social groups, your online connections, your networking and affiliations. And Pluto's going to be transforming this area of your life up over the next 20 years. So there's going to be a lot of activations in this area of your life. There can be a lot going on with friends this month. Now, coming into the month on February 1st, we have Mercury forming a sextile to Neptune. Now, at this point, Mercury is still going to be in Capricorn, but I do love this for creativity, imagination, romance. On the 5th is when we have Mercury entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. Now, Mercury rules your third house of your mindset, communication, your community, your neighbors, vehicles, siblings, cousins. There's quite a lot in that third house. And also Mercury rules your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. And so when Mercury enters Aquarius and forms a conjunction to Pluto, there could be something intense in these areas of life that you're having to navigate. There can also be, something very transformational taking place, maybe around your mindset, maybe something within your community you're moving through, or a vehicle, something around work, your health, or your routines in some way. We're also going to have Venus forming a square to Chiron at this time. Now, Venus is up here in your 10th house in Capricorn, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So Chiron represents our wounds, our vulnerabilities, our insecurities. And when Venus forms a square to Chiron, there can be something triggered or activated, possibly around, some old hurt, some old trauma, maybe around self-love, self-worth, self-confidence. Now, always remember that these squares with this difficult energy, this is what brings in room for an amazing healing and personal growth. So keep that in mind that whatever is showing up for you at this time, as long as you move through it, you're able to heal in such an amazing way. And that's where you get that internal and external growth. Now, we're also in this Saturn and Jupiter sextile, which we've been in for a few weeks at this point. And I love this because Saturn is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Taurus. And so, what I get from this is, this really powerful manifestation energy where if we're doing the spiritual work and we're taking care of our energy, we're really able to bring that into our physical reality and manifest. Now, on the 6th, we're going to have Venus forming a T square to the nodes. And you have the north node right here in your first house, and the south node in your seventh house. And the first house represents you, your character, your personality, your physical body, your appearance, your perception, the direction that you're moving in life. Like this is you as a whole. And the seventh house is your relationships, your one-on-one connections. And so there's a lot of changes going on this year with you and your partnerships. And so when we have Venus T squaring their nodes, there can be tension here and there could be something really being brought to the surface around you and your partner that you're having to address. And this can even be, wanting to do both and not there can be, I always look at T squares as like having to make a choice or a decision. There can be a lot of tension, between you and your partners at this time, and you may be having to release and let some people go in your life. Now, once we get to the 7th, we have Venus forming a trine to Uranus. Now, when Venus forms a trine to Uranus, I look at this as a beautiful surprise. This is a trine. It's a very easy flowing energy. Now, Venus rules your second house of money, finances, and material possessions, and also your seventh house of relationships. And so it can be something very nice, very unexpected showing up around money or relationships. Now, on the 8th, we have the sun forming a square to Uranus. And The sun represents the sun rules our consciousness and life force energy, and Uranus rules the electrical systems in our body. So I always look at the sun square Uranus energy as sometimes this is a day where it's kind of hard to like balance our energy out. There could be energy blockages showing up. If you meditate, maybe a harder time connecting to the energies around you. This can be feeling a little bit depleted, just a lot of unstable energy kind of with this. Now, on the 9th, we're going to have the new moon in Aquarius, and that new moon is ruled by Uranus, and the new moon is squaring Uranus. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on the moons because I do post separate new moon and full moon forecasts. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a forecast. And I go into the chart and also into all 12 rising signs. But what I do want to say about this new moon is when I look at the chart for the new moon, I look at that as an imprint as to how the energies are going to manifest. And the fact that the new moon is squaring Uranus shows that there's going to be a lot of unexpectedness around how the energies or whatever it is you're implementing or the intentions you're setting, the journey to kind of get you there or however those intentions are coming to fruition. There's going to be a lot of unexpected twists and turns to that journey. Now, on the 10th, we're going to have Mercury forming a square to Jupiter. And this can be feeling, having Mercury in Aquarius can be a lot going on mentally, a lot of thoughts, possibly squaring Jupiter. There can be feelings of just mentally drained, mentally overwhelmed. So it can be a day where we're just, and collectively, it could be when we're getting a lot of information. There can be a lot of even possibly confusion around the information. There's just kind of maybe even bombarded by, a lot of information and messages at this time. And then again, because Mercury rules that third house and sixth house, there could be something around your mindset, something around the community or neighbors you're having to address, something around your routines, maybe like you're really, really, really busy and you're just feeling, kind of drained at this point. On the 11th is when we start the North Node Chiron conjunction. And this is a 2-week transit. Now, with this North Node Chiron conjunction, there can be a lot triggered, a lot activated, especially when it has to do with healing. And what we want to remember with this transit is that whatever is being brought to the surface at this time is really bringing in this opportunity for amazing healing and growth that can completely change the trajectory of your journey because of that North Node. So we want to keep that in mind, be paying attention to what is surfacing, what is coming to the surface around old hurt, vulnerabilities, insecurities, healing and moving through that can really be quite powerful at this time. Now, once we get to the second week on the 13th, we will have Mars entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. Now, this is going to feel very volatile. And because Mars is your chart ruler, this is where there can be a lot going on. There can be a lot of tension. Sometimes, this can be power control dynamics. This could have to do with friends because it's in your 11th house or associations. But there's something very transformational taking place at this time. I now collectively, I think this is going to be a really big month for like protests and riots just because all this Aquarian energy. But there's a lot of focus here in your 11th house of friends and, your social connections. So there can be something, very intense showing up around this time. Now, on that same day, we have Venus forming a sextile to Neptune. And I do love this for romance, like romantic connections. At this point, Venus is still going to be in Capricorn. So I do love this for, romance and creativity. Now on the 14th, and I just put the 14th just to kind of the Saturn Jupiter sextile, just to kind of show we're still in that energy. But on the 16th, we have Venus then entering Aquarius and forming a conjunction to Pluto. So then Venus is going to enter your 11th house and form a conjunction to Pluto. And Venus rules your second house of money and finances and your 7th house of relationships. So there could be something very transformational going on around your relationship or people in your life, those one-on-one connections, or maybe something very powerful going on with your money, something very transformational. Now we're also going to have that same day Mercury forming a square to Uranus. And this is to like having Mercury in your in Aquarius at this point. This is where, there can be a lot going on mentally, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. A square to Uranus can be just a lot of instability. Like again, it's like that Mercury square to Jupiter, possibly feeling very overwhelmed, maybe even dealing with a lot of anxiety at this time. Then on the 18th, we start Pisces season, and we now have Saturn in Pisces. So this Pisces season is going to feel a little bit different because we have Saturn here, and this is in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is the house of spirituality, karmic energy, also the house of isolation, the house of self undoing and self sabotaging. So it's going to feel a lot different this Pisces season having Saturn here. But there's quite a lot going on in this house, and we'll get into that as we kind of move through this horoscope. Now, once we get into the third week of February on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we have the Venus Mars conjunction. The cosmic lovers are coming together at 6 degrees. They actually do this dance from 5, 6, 7 degrees, but they come exact at 6 degrees. And this is in your 11th house of friends and friendships. But what I love about this is that Mars is you, Venus is your relationships. So this can be something very passionate and powerful showing up around your love connections, your relationships at this time. Now, on the 23rd, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So bringing more focus to that 12th house. And then on the 24th, we have the full moon in Virgo at 5 degrees. And that is in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routine. So when we have the full moon in Virgo, there's a lot more focus. This area of life is being lit up. But this is where there can just be a lot more focus on your work, your health, your routines. And then on that same day, we also have Venus squaring Jupiter. And this is where we want to be watching for overindulgence. This can be something too, possibly showing up around your money and finances or relationships. Now, once we get to the fourth week of February on the 26th, we have Mars squaring Jupiter. And this is interesting because Mars is your chart ruler. So this can feel quite intense, quite powerful, quite overwhelming. So you do want to be mindful of this day. This is a day where things can get a little tricky, a lot more difficult. You can feel, less optimistic and overwhelmed, really, and maybe even not knowing, the direction to move in, with whatever it is you're kind of navigating with this energy. Now, on the 27th and 28th is when we have the Mercury Cazimi, and this Mercury Cazimi is with Saturn, and this is in your 12th house. And this conjunction of Saturn too, this Cazimi with Saturn is already very karmic because it's with Saturn and Saturn's, karmic energy, but it's in your 12th house. So there can be a lot of clarity and a lot of insight showing up for you on this day or around this time around any self-undoing and self-sabotaging behaviors and patterns that you may have. There can be this aha moment where maybe you start to realize, how you can get in your own way or how you can self-sabotage. So pay attention, at this time to what your intuitive downloads are, your thoughts, kind of what is showing up for you mentally. Now, on the 29th, we're going to have Mercury forming a sextile to Jupiter and then the Sun forming a sextile to Jupiter. And I look at this as this is when things are starting to lift up. We're starting to gain our optimism back. This is where we've made it kind of through the tricky energy for the month, and now there's clarity. It's almost like, too, whatever clarity we get from this, there's opportunity coming in around that. So it's really, really nice. But Aries, I hope that this helps you navigate the energies for February. Make sure you subscribe because I will be posting monthly horoscopes every single month on the last or the first day of the month. I also post new and full moon forecast and a weekly forecast. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.